Plot to assassinate Adel Al-Jubeir, 2011. In the murky world of international espionage, few plots have captured global attention like the 2011 attempt to assassinate Adel Al-Jubeir, the Saudi ambassador to the United States. The plot, which unfolded like a Hollywood thriller, involved secret meetings, wire transfers, and promises of explosive attacks on American soil. But behind the scenes, this was no ordinary assassination attempt. It was a meticulously planned operation with ties leading directly to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, specifically its elite Quds force. The objective? Eliminate a high-profile Saudi diplomat and send a chilling message to Saudi Arabia and the United States. Adel Al-Jubeir was no ordinary target. As Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the United States, he was a trusted advisor to King Abdullah and a prominent voice in shaping U.S.-Saudi relations. His assassination would have been a devastating blow to Saudi Arabia's standing in Washington, and a declaration of Iran's intent to challenge Saudi influence on a global scale. But what made this plot even more alarming was its audacity, a plan to carry out an assassination on U.S. soil in the heart of Washington, D.C. The plot was hatched by the Quds Force, the IRGC's covert operations unit responsible for conducting missions beyond Iran's borders. The Quds Force, under the command of the infamous General Qasem Soleimani, had built a reputation for orchestrating high-profile operations across the Middle East and beyond. But this plot represented a bold escalation, a direct attack on American soil that risked dragging the United States and Iran into open conflict. The key figure at the center of the plot was Mansour Arbabsiar, an Iranian-American used car salesman from Texas. Arbabsiar, with his unassuming demeanor and lack of a criminal record, was the perfect pawn for the Quds Force. Iranian operatives recruited him, promising large sums of money and assurances of protection. His task was simple: coordinate the assassination of Al-Jubeir by hiring professional killers. But Arbabsiar's inexperience would ultimately be the plot's undoing. Seeking a reliable hitman, he reached out to what he believed was a member of a Mexican drug cartel. What he didn't know was that his contact was an informant for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA. As Arbabsiar discussed the plan in chilling detail, U.S. authorities were listening. He spoke of bombs going off in a crowded Washington, D.C. restaurant where Al-Jubeir was a regular, indifferent to the collateral damage that would inevitably ensue. The cost? $1.5 million, a price he claimed Iran was willing to pay. As Arbabsiar and his handlers plotted the assassination, the DEA informant kept feeding crucial information to U.S. authorities. They learned that the Quds Force was not just interested in eliminating Al-Jubeir. They were considering additional attacks on Israeli and Saudi embassies around the world. The scale of the plot was staggering, and it quickly became clear that this was not an isolated act of terrorism, but part of a broader strategy to destabilize the region and assert Iranian dominance. The operation unraveled in spectacular fashion. On September 29, 2011, Arbabsiar was arrested at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York while attempting to enter the United States. His arrest exposed the entire plot, sending shockwaves through the international intelligence community. Under interrogation, Arbabsiar quickly confessed, revealing intricate details about the Quds Force's involvement and Iran's role in orchestrating the operation. His statements implicated high-ranking Iranian officials, confirming what U.S. intelligence had long suspected. Tehran was willing to cross dangerous lines to achieve its geopolitical objectives. The revelation of the plot sent diplomatic relations between the United States and Iran into a tailspin. President Barack Obama condemned the plot as a flagrant violation of international law, and U.S. officials vowed to hold Iran accountable. Sanctions were tightened, and international pressure on Tehran intensified. But the plot also deepened the animosity between Saudi Arabia and Iran, two regional rivals locked in a bitter struggle for influence. Saudi leaders, outraged by Iran's audacity, demanded that the international community take decisive action against Tehran. Yet, despite the outcry and condemnation, the assassination plot revealed something far more sinister: the IRGC's willingness to take its covert operations to unprecedented levels. The plot demonstrated that Iran was no longer content to limit its operations to the Middle East. It was willing to extend its reach to the heart of the United States, risking global repercussions to settle scores and advance its strategic ambitions. For the Quds Force, the plot was a calculated gamble that ultimately backfired. While they had hoped to strike a devastating blow to Saudi Arabia and intimidate its allies, the exposure of the operation only hardened international resolve against Iran. The world had been given a chilling glimpse of Iran's capabilities and its readiness to resort to extreme measures to achieve its objectives. In the end, the plot to assassinate Adel Al-Jubeir was not just an assassination attempt. It was a declaration of intent, a signal that Iran was willing to escalate its shadow war against its adversaries to dangerous new heights. But the failed plot also served as a stark reminder that even the most meticulously planned operations can unravel when ambition meets incompetence. And while Al-Jubeir's life was spared, the reverberations of the plot continued to echo through the corridors of international diplomacy, reminding the world that in the dangerous game of geopolitics, no one is ever truly beyond the reach of their enemies.